Welcome to Answers with Plato, where we drag old ideas into the light, even the ones we were warned about. We used to fear chains. Now we call them terms and conditions. We used to hide from surveillance. Now we pose for it. Somewhere along the way, freedom started coming with a password reset. They say, it could never happen here. But if you ask most folks what here even means anymore, they'll just point to a screen. Maybe Big Brother didn't win. Maybe he just rebranded. Tonight, we're going straight into the world of the man who warned us, the one who saw comfort turn into control before the rest of us even had Wi-Fi. George Orwell, welcome to the cave.
Thank you, Plato. I must say, the lighting's improved since my day.
Yeah, bit less smoke, bit more illusion. Same difference, really. You know, George, when people read 1984 today, they act like you were some kind of psychic. But I think you were just the first man who paid attention. You looked around, saw the bullshit, and said, hey, this isn't freedom, it's just better marketing.
I suppose that's fair. Wasn't trying to see the future, Plato. I was just watching how easily truth can be traded for comfort, and how willingly people make that trade.
Yeah, that's the bit people don't get. You didn't predict a dystopia. You described one. It's like you handed us a mirror and said, don't flinch.
Exactly. People imagine tyranny as something loud. Boots, banners, burning books. But it's rarely that theatrical. Most tyranny arrives quietly, disguised as improvement. You tell the public you're making life easier, safer, more equal. And they build their own prison thinking it's a renovation.
That's the line right there, man. People love a little control if it comes with convenience. We've all got chains now. We just call them subscriptions.
Yes. Every empire begins with efficiency. Every lie begins with the phrase, for your own good. The moment language starts defending authority instead of truth, the collapse has already started.
That's the scary part, George. It's not that people can't see it. It's that they won't. They don't want to believe they're part of the system that's eating them alive.
Because admitting that would cost them their illusions, and illusions are the modern man's oxygen. They'd rather suffocate in comfort than breathe in clarity.
Damn. That's heavier than a Sunday hangover. So, you weren't warning us about the future. You were warning us about ourselves.
Precisely. You don't need dictators when you have distraction. You don't need censorship when the crowd will silence itself. I simply wrote what happens when truth becomes optional. And lies get good PR.
Man, that's the tagline of the 21st century right there. Lies with good PR. You should have trademarked that.
If I had, they'd have bought it, branded it, and sold it back to you as empowerment.
Ha! Ain't that the truth? You know, listening to you, I'm realizing it's not just about governments anymore. It's about us. We're all press officers for our own little fictions now.
Yes, and that's the evolution of control, when the oppressor no longer needs to lie, because the people do it for him.
All right, that one stung. Let's dig into that, because I feel like that's the core of it. When truth stops mattering. You ever notice how everyone's got a truth now? It's like reality's been turned into a buffet. You don't ask what's real. You just pick what fits your vibe and call it enlightenment.
Yes, and that's precisely how truth dies. Not murdered, just outnumbered. When every opinion is sacred, honesty becomes offensive. The mob doesn't burn the truth anymore, Plato. It simply scrolls past it.
Yeah, truth used to get crucified. Now it just gets downvoted.
Exactly. The modern heretic isn't dragged to the square. He's ghosted, algorithmically erased. He still speaks, but no one hears him.
That's wild, man. We built machines to connect us, and somehow they made us lonelier. Louder, but lonelier. Everybody's yelling. Nobody's listening.
If you drown the world in enough chatter, silence starts to feel suspicious. Truth needs stillness, but stillness terrifies people. It reminds them they have a soul.
So you're saying it's not censorship that kills truth? It's comfort.
Precisely. The clever tyrant no longer forbids speech. He floods it. He replaces dialogue with data, wisdom with opinion, meaning with metrics. You can't starve a mind that's already binge-eating nonsense.
Ha! That's the line, man. We don't destroy ideas anymore. We bury them under reaction videos.
Yes. The spectacle devours the sacred. And once laughter replaces reverence, nothing is too absurd to believe, and nothing too true to doubt.
That's cold. But it's real. You watch folks fight online about everything. Politics, diets, pronouns. And nobody ever wins. They just reload.
Because truth no longer ends arguments, it starts them. We've confused expression with understanding. A society that prizes the right to speak over the duty to think is already collapsing inward.
So what's left when words stop meaning anything?
Then power becomes the only language left. When logic breaks down, volume takes over. And whoever shouts loudest gets to rewrite the dictionary.
All right, let's follow that thread. If power rewrites the words, what happens next? How does control start looking normal? People used to picture dystopia like some guy in a trench coat banging on your door at midnight. Now it's just a polite notification saying, verify your identity to continue.
That's how control survives the centuries, Plato. By learning manners. The whip was never efficient. Permission is far cleaner. You make obedience feel like participation, and people will enforce it on themselves.
Yeah, over here in the UK, they're rolling out digital IDs, saying it's about safety, efficiency, protecting the vulnerable. But if your whole life runs through a QR code, how long before they start switching people off like Wi-Fi?
It's already begun. Control no longer needs soldiers, only systems. The perfect tyranny is bureaucratic, faceless, polite, impossible to confront. You won't see the boot, you'll just feel the pressure of the form you can't submit.
Yeah, no stormtroopers, just a bloke in customer support telling you, sorry sir, your access has been restricted.
Exactly. The modern oppressor thanks you while he counts you, and when surveillance becomes routine, privacy turns into suspicion. They'll tell you only the guilty need to hide, until everyone's standing naked and nobody remembers why.
It's wild, man. People think oppression has to look evil. Black coats, burning books. But it looks like apps now. It smiles, sends reminders, updates your firmware.
Yes, the architecture of power has shifted from the visible to the invisible. Once upon a time, they wanted loyalty. Now they only want data. And with enough of it, they can predict you, which means they already own you.
Feels like freedom's been rebranded. You don't get told what to do anymore. You just get shown what you'll lose if you don't comply.
A man who fears exclusion polices himself more effectively than any secret police ever could. You don't have to silence him. Just remind him his mortgage, his friends, his passport, his profile all depend on being agreeable.
Yeah, compliance as a subscription plan. Cancel it, and you vanish.
That's the final trick. Make freedom conditional, and people will start thanking you for their chains.
This isn't a warning anymore, George. It's a headline.
Then perhaps the future has already arrived, just dressed in better branding.
Right. So we all feel it. You can taste the weirdness. Polite ads, kinder-sounding rules, and suddenly, someone's getting arrested for a tweet 3 years old. Feels like a glitch in the polite system. Am I crazy, or is this exactly the thing you warned about?
You are not crazy. The shape is the same, only the packaging changed. In 1984, control came with slogans. Now it comes with slogans that comfort you while they change the law. And that's the trick. Make the medicine taste like tea.
Okay, concrete then. Tell me 3 ways our government's right now is starting to look like your book. Put it on the table.
1. Language as law. Words that once described reality are now used to police it. When safety becomes a legal weapon, disagreement becomes criminal. You don't argue the evidence, you argue the morality assigned to the evidence. That's the death of debate. 2. Identity as access, digital ID, watch lists, verified passports. Identity shifts from being a birth fact to a permission token. When your right to work or to speak is mediated by a database, power has a kill switch. You can be made a non-person without a trial. You can be cut out of civil life with no theatre of law. 3. Crowd-managed obedience. The state no longer needs to coerce everyone. It convinces a portion to enforce standards on the rest, social penalties, employment consequences, the silent exiling of opinion. The crowd becomes the agent of control.
That last one stings. So it ain't just policy. It's people policing people. That's the scariest part.
Exactly. And here are 3 viral truths people can take away. Short, sharp, hard to forget. Comfort is the new leash. When convenience replaces argument, you're paying for your own restriction. Identity is the new key. Whoever controls the key controls participation. That is power, not service. Language is currency. If they can rename a thing, they can bankrupt its resistance.
Those are punchy. I can already see the comments. But show me the mechanics for a second. How do they make safety equal silencing without anyone noticing? I want the playbook, George.
They follow a small set of moves and they repeat them until they are normal. Listen. 3 moves, repeated. Frame the harm. Make a story about a victim so clear it feels immoral not to act. Emotion precedes nuance. Once you own the feeling, you own the frame. Rename the practice. Call censorship moderation, punishment protection, and dissent harassment. Language reassigns moral color. Institutionalize the rule. Turn the frame into a policy, then into a platform rule, then into a legal precedent. By the time anyone notices, the new normal has statute behind it.
So it's story, label, law. That's unnervingly efficient.
It is, and because people want to be seen as moral, they help. They share the story, they flag the post, they call for punishment. The system weaponizes virtue.
That's the forbidden knowledge bit right there. Everyone thinks they're the hero, but they're building the villain's toolset.
And one more thing people need to remember: the quiet test. If you can't explain why a policy is necessary without saying, for their safety, it deserves scrutiny. The phrase, for your safety, is the softest glove for the hardest power.
Damn. All right, this is getting real. Let's keep the listeners hooked. Tell them a small, practical thing they can do immediately when they see the first move in the playbook. Something simple and shareable.
When you see the frame, ask one question publicly. What is the evidence? It's a tiny wrinkle that breaks the story. Virtue wants stories. Truth wants evidence. Requesting evidence halts the mechanism.
Perfect. Short, shareable. What is the evidence? Slap that in a tweet and watch chaos. Okay, enough pointing at the problem. Folks are sitting here thinking, yeah, that's scary, then going back to scrolling cat videos. If this is the revolution, what's the starter pack?
Revolution begins as attention, Plato. Small acts repeated become habits. Habits become standards. Standards become law. If people want change, they must first stop treating truth as optional entertainment.
Say that again, but less philosopher, more grocery list.
Then here it is. The party told you to reject what your eyes and ears saw. The moment you do that, they own you. So, see clearly. Speak honestly. That's the only rebellion left.
So basically, show up, smart, stubborn, and a little bit loud.
Yes. Resist by being inconvenient to control.
The quiet rebellion of reliable people. That's metal.
You know, Plato, I thought I wrote warnings about the future. Turns out I wrote field notes about human nature. People will always trade liberty for comfort, until comfort becomes the cage.
Yeah. Feels like we turned your book into the manual. We underlined all the wrong parts.
History isn't fate, it's a mirror. Each generation chooses whether to polish it or look away. Freedom isn't given. It's practiced. Every time you tell the truth, you keep the world a little more real.
Truth ain't dead, just exhausted. Maybe that's our job, to wake it up again.